And welcome back everyone to the Player Experience stream. I'm joined by Azael and Zig for a single team focused look at Game 4 between the ROX Tigers and SK Telecom. We'll feature the vision from only the ROX Tigers perspectives with the Fog of War enabled, talk warding, objective control, and probably Peanut's jungle patterns as well.
Probably talk a lot of other stuff too.
Whatever you guys want, it's up to you guys.
Yeah, I definitely think Fog of War is the most fun of the all streams, at least for me, because it's really cool to actually see how well these teams do or do not play around their vision. It really gives you an idea of like when people are getting punished for their mistakes and when people are actually playing safely around it.
Yeah, I mean, top lane focus, Fog of War, those are the only two alt streams I've done so far, and Fog of War I think we've done from like some losing team side, so it's not as like cool to watch, I guess, when it's just like yeah, like your vision is just slowly descending to darkness. And it's like you can't fight anything because you can't see anything, and then you're scared of walking in any brush anywhere. So hopefully, yeah, I'd like to see vision from like the winning side because it's more fun to see like where people put their pinks and stuff, and like how long they'll wait in a brush or something to like try to cheese someone or something.
Well, we'll have to see if ROX can get it done, but we'll take a quick look at some of the warding stats as well. Bring them up on your screen. ROX Tigers been looking decent as far as the wards placed per minute, wards kills per minute, and that's don't quite know what the last that is.
It's pinks a game.
Hey, that's right.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So
that's
how
why
many
you're here.
pink wards they have actually placed per game? So they're actually just basically at the world's average. People are buying about 30 pinks per game for these teams. So it shows really how much priority there is on vision. And honestly, although it can feel bad to watch from a losing team's perspective, I think it's actually really cool because it shows how well teams close out games through the lack of vision, right? It's like sometimes people will be watching at home. It's like, oh, why don't they just go? Why aren't they at Dragon? Why aren't they stopping them at Baron? Why aren't they doing this or doing that? And it's like,
that's me every
well,
time.
they actually have no wards and they have to walk through half the map with no vision and pray that they're not in any of these bushes. So it gives you an idea of like how hard it can be to come back in some of these games against the best teams because they completely shut you out through vision control.
I'm definitely looking forward to watching that as well. And the ROX Tigers have been looking really good. I think the other thing to think about is vision. We looked at some of the stats about average for the ROX Tigers, which is what we expect. But I think it's also cool to see like where exactly is the vision going. And of course, with the Fog of War enabled, what exactly does it see? You might learn about ward spots you can go to, or just what things you want to be looking for based on the matchups, based on kind of what's happening in the game at that point.
Yeah, certainly. And I think that ROX's vision has been pretty good so far. And I think the SKT's vision, especially in the bot lane, has been a lot of gray screen. Hasn't been looking so hot for them, but
that's the type of vision. I guess.
That's the type of vision. It's not an ideal type of vision,
yeah.
But it is a type of vision. And honestly, I think that they're gonna have to play better around the fact that Peanut has been visiting bot lane a lot, and that they've been kind of coordinating very well on these ganks on bot side. Because 2 games in a row, they've gotten smashed in bot lane. Last game wasn't as bad. At least they weren't down massively in farm, but even just the kills and the pressure and the turret and everything was still pretty bad. So I definitely think the SKT is going to have to focus like vision around bot side and be able to kind of adapt and play better around that.
And with that, we're going to take a look at some jungle proximity stats as well. See exactly how both Peanut and Bengi have been doing. Kind of interesting to see where they've been going, especially recently. I'm not sure. I think, yeah, these actually are from the semifinals, excuse me. So, like you said, been around the bottom lane a decent amount here, but also mid for Peanut as well, which is pretty common for junglers.
I mean, the big thing is look at how much time he's spending around his support, right?
Yep.
They're working very well in conjunction. You can see Peanut goes to the bot lane a lot, but he also goes on these kind of warding adventures with his support, to be able to get vision, to be able to do a lot of that. And that's something that has been kind of lacking right now from SKT, but the rest, obviously, we have to be saying that it is a very small sample size.
Yes.
This is just a couple games. So this is not something that's like a whole season or that you can read into as far as playstyle. But this is just kind of showing you what they have been doing so far.
Yeah, I'm interested actually to see how ROX sets a vision if they don't get the Ashe this time as well, too, because that like Hawkshot early game was like allowing Peanut to walk in the jungle on the other side or something like that, or allowing like one side of the map to play safe if they just randomly happen to spot out the Olaf with the Ashe.
Yeah, exactly.
Hawkshot, so.
And that's something I think that is super overlooked a lot of the time when you're watching just a regular stream, is how impactful good Hawkshots can be, and players who are really good at tracking the jungler, because if you spot him, that can like initiate a gank, and you may not have noticed that, right? That can be like, okay, he's top side, we can gank bot, we could dive, we can take this turret, we can do dragon, whatever. So every time you do get spotted out, that can be pretty massive.
And Peanut's I think a pretty good looking series for himself. And I think for me, one of the things to be tracked is when we're just watching from ROX's vision, like how are they able to let the jungler play so aggressively and really get worked on? Because, like you said, it's not random that, like, I mean, it is a little random. Peanut does like to go and get aggressive, but, like, a lot of this is calculated, especially because it's a team effort, and they will try and play aggressively, but with the vision they've given themselves.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes you can make aggressive plays even without the vision, but you have to calculate, like, risk versus reward. You have to give respect to your other team, right? So it's not that you can't make, like, a 3v2 dive bot lane when you haven't seen Holy, when you haven't seen the actual jungler, but you have to respect the fact that the jungler could be there and what happens in that dive if they're there, right? If they do show up. So it's at least giving the respect to them, and I think that this is going to be a bit of a laugh for Gorilla. Support MF is banned out. Like, that has to feel good. Even just the fact that you're forcing them to ban this, to me, is a worrying sign for SKT that they cannot actually adapt to it, right? They don't know how to deal with this. They're not willing to change up their priority as far as, like, Zyra and stuff. So, like, well, I guess we have to ban it.
Yeah, it might help them out. It might help ROX's draft in Game 5 too if they know that they just don't have a good answer to the misfortune, especially if they pick Zyra this game too.
I mean, lots left open here. Again, mid lane is getting attacked. We've seen this consistently throughout the series. Mid laners have been heavily taxed on both sides here. I mean, FLICKR has 3 bans against him here. Just on ROX alone, SKT will take that Nidalee, which of course is a big champion for both Bengi, Blank, and particularly Peanut. So I feel like it's a takeaway more than anything else. But ROX lock in at Zyra, that's dirty.
It is, and it's like, cool, you banned out the MF, now we get this extremely dominant bot lane, and that's kind of what they forced SKT into. But Nidalee is up, and a lot of it, this game is going to rely on Bengi to get work done on that Nidalee, because, you know, triple ban on FLICKR. FLICKR has been absolutely blasting Kuro, but it hasn't mattered because ROX has been able to get big advantages elsewhere. So I think that this draft is pretty intelligent from ROX. They've put them in a bad position, forcing them to ban out NMF, and now triple banning FLICKR means it's like, these are 3 champions that he can kind of hard carry games on. Yes, he can still do it on other things, but it makes it a lot tougher for him.
I didn't even know Bengi played Nidalee. Did he?
He does. Like, I mean, I think everyone plays Nidalee.
Yeah, I guess.
Nidalee's just nuts, right? But
yeah.
But he hadn't actually played it in a single competitive game before this Worlds, I do believe. But when it was picked last time, I was kind of talking to some people about it, and apparently he had been playing it a lot in scrims, practicing for Worlds and doing well against it. And it's also been, I think, almost 100% pick ban rate, and it's almost always just ban at Worlds. So
yeah,
every team at Worlds has basically been saying this champion cannot get into the game. So, you know, giving that up is something, but ROX obviously happy to do that because their bot lane has just been smashing.
Yeah, and SKT take their bot lane as well. Jhin, Karma feels relatively safe. I kind of like what's going on. That's true, actually. We did see mid Karma from Kuro, so FLICKR, of course, capable of playing it, and actually going to steal away the Olaf here, interestingly, for Peanut. So Kuro, once again, going to get Victor. That's probably the least surprising thing in the series overall. But no Lee Sin this time for Peanut, does opt for Olaf instead.
And they're giving Smeb counterpick now, which I think is the first time this series that happened, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they used MF as like last pick a couple times and stuff like that. So I think that giving Smeb that is really nice. And honestly, just in general, I think ROX is like super hard winning this draft. I think that their draft is really, really nice. But we'll see what SKT is going to be able to do here. I do think it's scary. Like, if you lock in the Nara is like pretty okay against a lot of things, but there also are some counterpicks, some things that are very scary. And Zilean has been like pretty mixed, I think, in Worlds. And as far as Zilean in a composition like this, it feels a bit strange if FLICKR locks that in, because who's this guy that you're like Zilean powering up, right? Jhin is not that like ultra super hard carry. It's not like you're powering up a Jinx and speeding around and he's killing everyone. I just don't really see who he's buffing up. They have this kind of like protection, low damage comp, but then who are you protecting?
Yeah, it kind of looks all over the place. I think Zilean is like, people like it into Victor or something like that, but
it's good in lane, but you have to still win the game, right? And FLICKR has won lane hard 3 times in a row, but has it mattered? No. So that to me is a bit strange. And I do think that ROX is a very powerful team composition. It's just like, even just Rumble and stuff like can be very nice into Jhin. It's like, okay, cool. Jhin opens up with an ultimate, Rumble drops ultimate on his head, and now he just has to like back off, right? And although that is a decent cooldown trade and stuff, it feels very scary because unless the bot lane does really well, I just don't see how SKT has enough damage to actually win this game. Like.
Yep. And there's the Rumble pick again for Smeb to round up the draft. And I think Gate even mentioned it in the last game. But in general, I feel like throughout the series, ROX's drafting has been very good, especially compared to what SKT have got. So ROX may have won a lot of these in pick and ban. I think the MF probably threw a bit of a wrench in there and clearly affected how they're drafting this game. And this draft looks amazing from the ROX Tigers. They're poised to take this game and move themselves into the finals, but SKT always have something to play for.
It's crazy to think how ROX has just lost SKT time and time again, and now almost like they have to win the game still, right? They
Yeah,
have to
of
play
course.
well. They still have to win the game, but if they win this series, it's basically single-handedly on the back of support MF. Like one hidden pick that they prepared. It's true, right?
Yeah.
It wins them 2 games straight up. It completely screws SKT's draft in this game because they ban that out. They like are kind of picking this composition that's all over the place. It seems like so insane how much impact that has had in this series.
Yeah, it's like everyone's trying to pick lanes that push, and then they discover like the agreed upon most meta support is Zyra. So Zyra is like the king, the top of the hierarchy, and then ROX just discovers Misfortune. secretly.
Hey!
And oh, there's one piece above the Zyra now, and
Gorilla innovating a support at Worlds. Who just would have thought it? I guess we saw it last year. Guys, it's been great so far, and this could, of course, be our last game, so don't forget to keep sending in your questions on Twitter using the hashtag AskTheCasters. We'll pick some to answer during the game. The questions have been awesome so far. Love to see what you guys want to know out there in the Twitterverse, so keep them coming, whether it's for us or for Zeke, who's rejoining us here for this game. Thanks for coming back.
thanks for having me.
No worries. All right, let's do it. ROX Tigers, Fog of War.
Feels very unsure if you want to. Ooh, I don't know. Am I thankful I'm back here? Oh.
See how the game goes. Maybe not.
Yeah.
ROX are going to move out though for what could be the final time. They're up 2-1 here in the best of 5 series, feeling good after back-to-back support MF empowered wins. Very curious to see how they play, what their vision looks like, and now they're going to move out as a unit here at level 1, blind towards the SK Telecom jungle.
But with this 5-man squad, it's like, unless SKT is randomly 5-man camping a bush, there's not really any danger, so they are pretty safe to be able to move blindly as that team, and I think that's the only reason that they're doing that. You wouldn't just walk in blind by one person to do something like that.
Looking for some wards, I think. Poke on the prey. I spotted the jungler on the spot. Actually, it was FLICKR, sorry. So kind of in the spots they expect them to. No surprises really just yet as far as vision goes. You can see the bottom lane here now going to get spotted. Bit of damage there from Gorilla. And they're going to get a ward down as well. But kind of looking right now, it's great to see just how clear the Fog of War is when you can have it turned off for one team. No deep vision plays so early on for ROX. I'm not sure what they have planned level 1 exactly, but if they wanted some deep vision or maybe a pick, didn't get either, unfortunately, for them.
Yep, but they will be able to start the game off, and it's not going to be too big of a deal. Bot lane has started out like this the last couple games where no one wants to get cheese, so they just go straight to lane, and it's kind of been this developing thing where bot lanes feel like they can't help leash for camps against some of these certain compositions, because if you're there leashing the camp, your opponents will actually just push up in the bush, and they'll just be waiting in the bush to zone you off the wave. If they land that first wave poke, they can deny you that early experience, deny you some of that CS, and it makes those bot laners have to go and just kind of fight back and forth.
Yeah, I think if you lose a lead really early on in bot lane just because someone cheesed you in a brush, your lane's like almost over just from that alone. So yeah, I guess all these guys are just trying to avoid that. Like they don't want that to happen to them, so they have to fight over priority in the lane.
Especially when it's super heavy poke champions pick, right? Both the Zyra and the Karma, if they're able to actually like, you know, Monster Q lands on you and then a Jin W or whatever, like some sort of early damage can be very, very scary and similar to that Zyra, obviously. Zyra landing a Q and a plant on you plus dash damage, but Gorilla actually taking a ton of damage there.
Nice sidestep from Bang, actually. Sort of predicts the grasping roots, gets out from under it, and trades are going decently. Jin, of course, in that medium range will trade well. FLICKR and Kuro, though, having a farm off. And I think we just spotted Bengi on that Raptor count.
Yeah, the Victor ended up pushing up and got a cheeky ward there, I guess, like a little. Must have pushed the first 2 waves on the Zillion at the time.
Yeah, and something very important about this matchup, I actually talked a fair bit about this with Froggen a couple weeks ago, was he was basically saying so much of the matchup depends on disrupting the base timings of the Victor, right? The Victor wants to be able to like kind of farm it out and base at 1250 gold to get his Hex Tech upgrade, or Hex Core upgrade, whatever you want to call it. So Zillion basically has to be able to kind of keep him there, keep pushing him in, and make it so he can't have clean base timings. If you can deny him blues and keep him in this position where he's stuck in lane, out of mana, it gets very bad for him, and you can get advantageous base timings. But Victor, he wants to be able to kind of conserve his mana, keep up in farm, and then basically be able to push up and get that that hex score.
Yeah, you don't want to base on like 1,000 on Victor. Well, you can't base on 1,000. You don't want to like, get like a Doran and Lucidity boost or something, or like.
Yep.
Well, that's more than actually.
Oh, Bangy's here.
Oh, great spear. Good flash from Kuro. Will get his way out, but again, very shallow vision for ROX as Gorilla tied up again. Instant heal there from Prey, who's going to go aggressive on the Bang. Exhaust, though, to turn the situation around. Ignite was actually used as well. Gorilla been very aggressive with his summon spells these last few games, and Bang's in. He wants it. Bounce is not enough for the kill.
That was actually really good.
Hello.
Bangy's here. They're going to look for a dive. I would think. If they're going to try to push it in, we'll see if they have the balls to actually go for it, because Peanut's here now, too.
Ooh, Gorilla flash.
Wow.
He didn't need to, but wanted to make sure he's safe. Great pressure from Bengi.
That's so good from SKT. Bengi really goes mid lane, forces Summoner there in conjunction with FLICKR. Then they go bot lane. They force all 4 Summoners. So this is a fantastic start for SKT. And this is what they needed to have with this Nidalee. And ROX has not been able to track the Nidalee whatsoever. And it's tough to do so because he can hop over the walls. He can be in these unexpected places.
Big wave crushing here.
FLICKR, what are you doing?
Taking power damage. Bengi's in. He wants first blood. He does get it. Actually, a Zillion able to collect it. Creative dive from SKT, but it works out. And Peanut, I'm not sure he can chase. Pick up the axe again, but he can't make it over the wall. He's only got Ghost, and great play, SK Telecom.
That was crazy risky, like insanely risky. FLICKR actually got stunned by the gravity field there, and so easily could have gone down. So that takes some serious balls for SKT to go for this, and I think that they realize they must snowball or they will lose, or they would not be going for risky dives like this. So they want to deny the wave. Peanut's actually here. FLICKR got stunned, and Peanut should have actually gone for FLICKR, who was stunned in the gravity field. If he went up and hit 1 axe on him, I think FLICKR's probably dead. Instead, he tried to kind of peel off the Nidalee, wasn't able to get either one, and it does feel like SKT took a huge risk and felt like they had to. But that's massive. I mean, all the XP gets denied to the Victor, and he dies.
Yeah, and he ended up with the double Doran boots by team. So
That's the like ultimate sadness build, dude. This
Nothing's fun at all. Well, we do have a question out from Twitter. Alexander Baker asks, why did SKT decide to ban MF instead of Ashe? It does seem like Ashe was a crucial piece of their bot lane combo.
To me, the only reason that you can actually say, and it's not necessarily a good one, is they weren't willing to change their draft up actually around that, right? So they wanted to play the same kind of things, and it forced them into this position where they're like, well, we weren't planning to deal with MF, so we're just going to ban out the MF. And they weren't willing to first pick the Ashe, so they can't do that, and they didn't want to go with the other one. So it's like not the most exciting answer, but it's basically all it is they just weren't prepared to deal with MF and didn't feel like they could.
Curious there, but again, we talked about ROX getting such a strong draft, kind of off the back of MF doing so well, but right now struggling a little bit. SKT up after that first blood kill, and important to note, Bengi was of course sub back in for this game. He did pick up the first win in the series, and Blank definitely looking a little shaky. Peanut was held down firmly in game 1 versus Bengi. Bengi might be on track to out-jungle Peanut again, although this time certainly much closer in the early farm. Olaf and Italy do farm very aggressively through the jungle.
Yeah, and it's certainly Bang has been way more effective in the early game, right? He forces summoners mid, he gets 4 summoners, well, he gets a couple summoners bot. It's not fair to say he forced them all because the 2v2 really did. Then he goes back, they get first blood. So even though he is down a little bit of farm, he's created a massive amount of pressure for SKT, and really no team has made much of an incursion as far as like getting a lot of vision to track their opponents. You can't really see much warding being done, especially from ROX, right? Like they have not placed a single ward pretty much on their opponent's side since that one Victor ward by the Wraith Flesh. That's literally it, I think.
yeah, I guess it's partly jungle matchup, or I don't know. Olaf just seems like he's been like full clearing back and forth or something like that. I don't know if he's really gone for any invades or.
Yeah, it is worth talking about top lane a little bit though. I mean, Duke right now is kind of getting blasted, and they're gonna look for an all-in. We'll see if anyone's here.
Peanut wants it again. Wolf get locked up. Damage is good, but SKT are TPing in. Bang. Gonna line it up. It's actually fake that TP's down. Good double stun. Last bullet there. Hits on the Peanut. Good tanking and ROX. They'll get away with that. FLICKR TP's in, but does not get a kill.
I actually think that FLICKR didn't need to TP. I think they were already out and could have just walked away. So, you know, giving up his TP there, obviously they felt like they could make a play, but he doesn't really have any damage built yet. Jhin doesn't really either. A couple long swords, and it's like a catalyst and a blasting on for FLICKR. So there's not a lot of damage coming out, and he does kind of give up some of his mid lane advantage for doing that. So there is definitely a cost. And meanwhile, they do spot out Bengi taking this away. He's actually doing it on a pig ward.
Yeah, Smed backed off. Like his wave was already pulling to him, so he kind of forfeited like a bit of the lane priority just because he knew Peanut showed bot side. So he ended up doing golems and then warding his red for Peanut, and then ended up collecting that big wave because I guess he's still healthy and it's hard to dive him.
Yeah, finally ROX getting some vision as well. Pretty much instant reaction to the red buff steal thanks to the info they had that Fengi was on the buff. Yeah.
SKT is just getting the bot lane once again. I mean, they're doing well, but now getting completely zoned off this, they need help. And Nidalee hasn't been seen for quite some time, so Nidalee could be heading down here. ROX has to respect that fact, but they're not really doing it, and they are going to be able to zone off Bang off almost all this farm. And look at the damage. They may actually just be able to take the turret. It's so low now, and Bang is really low too. I think they just have to give it up.
Yeah, I think
that's crazy.
I feel like they have enough vision maybe.
I think Nidalee's coming from base or...
It's just way too late.
They spotted her.
Yeah, they did. And now they know Tower's going to go down. First turret goal once again to ROX.
Wow. I mean, they were able to force that really well, and a lot of credit has to be given to Smeb for that pink ward that he placed at the red. So he knows Nidalee could be coming topside because his jungler showed bot side. He places the pink ward at the red. That spots Nidalee. Nice arrow there, force out flash, but that spots Nidalee, which allows them to not only steal that red back, but
they can just see that, but they can't face check. See, no vision. A little bit more in. Smeb actually already built the ultimate though.
As well, so they have to respect that. They don't see FLICKR, and he is there now.
Yep, looks like ulti's going to move in for Jin. Trying to pick some people off. Gorilla actually tanks a shot. Baker's there now. Smeb got to be aggressive. Banger kills Gorilla with the ulti. Now Smeb going to get jumped on here. Heal burnt there. SKT going to keep chasing. Peanut trying to keep them out, and Spears looking great. Flourish doesn't land, and ROX lose a couple there. Smeb TPs, but you could see with no vision, couldn't follow up.
No, they couldn't, and they had to be a bit scared, especially Kuro had to go back because he couldn't see where FLICKR was, right? He didn't have the vision on FLICKR, so if you kind of like check into a bush and you get double stunned by the bomb into a Nidalee, you're just going to give away your life. So I think he made the smart call there and just backs off instead of face checking, and he's pushing mid lane. I'm not sure how much damage he's really going to get done on that turret, but either way, he was able to at least push that in, deny something. And honestly, ROX is doing a good job. Even though they are 2 kills down, they're very, very close in gold. So they've done quite a good job for themselves.
It's good to see Kuro catching back up in farm too, because FLICKR roaming bottom there meant that he kind of catches up from missing like the 3 or 4 waves that he ended up missing when they dove him level 4. So he'll probably actually end up getting the goodbye now.
Yeah, he definitely will. He's had a lot of time to farm, but at the same time, a lot of credit has to be given to FLICKR for the fact that he... Oh, wow.
Flash on Smeb, it almost kills him. No, not this time. Slows down, Smeb still juking. Yeah, damage is there. Yep. There's an easy flourish. Smeb going to try and burn one down, but Wolf, thank you enough.
Like, look at how bad their damage is.
Oh, Bang, actually.
That's actually crazy to me. Like, 3 people there. This is a rumble. This is not like a tank. It's not a Poppy or something. And that's kind of what my concern is for them later in the game. Like, if it takes you that long to kill this guy, how do you actually kill off, like, the Olaf and stuff when Olaf gets really tanky? But regardless, I mean, back to the mid lane point, FLICKR has actually been able to keep up in farm, TP bot, and roam bot, and Kuro has just been kind of soaking farm. So they have been doing a good job with that. They pick up another kill. And ROX is kind of getting choked out as far as vision. They just have not been able to get a lot of deep wards. They did get those ones on the bot side when they invaded and kind of took away the red after they lost their own. So that is something that's very nice. And if we look towards that pink ward in the bot side jungle that ROX has placed, that's actually one of my favorite places for those. We talked about this last time.
Yeah.
I don't know if the observers are going to be able to show us that pink ward, but if we do go down to that ROX pink, then this is such a great place for you to place it. And you can see Banky's making the classic mistake. He's not checking that bush, and it's a bush that people almost never check. So this is one I would highly suggest using as a jungler, but really as anyone, if you know it's safe to put a pink ward there, you can often have them, even at like pretty high elo, last pretty much an entire game. I mean, this is Worlds, right? This is as high as it gets, and people still are not checking that brush.
It's super valuable, actually, yeah, if that pink lasts like 10-20 minutes.
Yes,
provides a lot of safety for bot and mid.
Even a couple minutes. I mean, the fact of the matter is, if it gets taken out there, you still have spotted Nidalee. It can allow you the opportunity to play aggressive, to do things that you wouldn't otherwise be able to do. So it's always worth it, even if you lose that 75 gold for buying it. It's super strong.
Arrow.
Oh, good sidestep.
Really nice from Bang. Didn't have his flash and he just sidestepped there, and after that little lull, good attempt from ROX, but we do have a question actually out from Twitter. Sarah M asks, will tank supports like Braum, Thresh, Leona ever make a comeback, and how? Go ROX, and thanks for an amazing cast. Good work, you two.
I think it's certainly possible. A lot of it depends on like the shifting of meta, right? You see that there's always an evolution. It's like Braum was super popular, but then it started being this situation where Zyra and Karma and all these supports came in that just poke him out of lane and make his lane such a liability. So it became a situation where he's too far behind in lane to be valuable in the team fights. And when those others come back in is when either balance changes, let's just be honest, balance changes do change the meta a lot, or when people can find ways to kind of like all in and beat those lanes. But like something like Leona I actually think would be like fantastic in to support MF or Zyra and things like that. It can work very well, but part of the reason people don't do it in pro play is because of the risk. It's like if you go for a Leona all in and the jungler's there and you die, now your lane is just so screwed, right? So
Yeah.
I certainly think they can come back either through meta changes or through people like being willing to take the risk. But you know.
I was actually surprised that we didn't see too much Thresh. Like,
Yeah.
Braum, I think some teams were prioritizing earlier in Worlds, as you said. But yeah,
Yep.
like the lane dominant range supports just seem to kind of crowd out the available picks. Like, it's all about just the 2v2. And if you guys can fight each other over the brush, like level 1, and
Yeah.
the first 2 levels of trading, like,
I was going to say, people are playing like the start of level 1 in bottom lane like I used to play when I first started playing League, you know, waiting in the bush hoping someone face check. So, like, definitely you can see how important the dual lane is, especially in these standard lane situations.
Yeah, and Alistar as well, you know, talking about more about tank supports, it's been massive in some games. But once again, there's more of a risk attached to it, right? If you're playing Alistar into Zyra and you're just kind of chilling in lane, we'll just farm it out, you're going to get pushed in, you're going to lose your turret, or at least get behind, right? You get poked out. So you have to make a play. And every time you're trying to make a big play, trying to do the all-ins like these tank supports have to do to win those lanes, it's a big risk.
Pretty interesting situation though. ROX actually going to start this dragon. And that pink ward is actually paying off so heavily here. They've got bot lane pushing, so there's vision there, and they can just spot people. So they can kind of think they can take this safely. If they needed to bail, they can, but that little pink ward, I think FLICKR's finally found.
He's going to bot lane.
Oh no, disaster! And Bang's going to get this arrow. Gorilla lines it up. Damage is there, Stranglethorn's in, Bang gonna flash out. Teleport in from SKT. Jhin ulti, Peanut gonna tank it, and Kura's here, gonna blow someone up. Who does he want? It's no one. Last few shots go wide, and ROX very well played.
So that was actually FLICKR's TP, and the fact that they saw Duke top lane is pretty important there because this is double TP, so you don't want to just instantly panic when you see one. You have to know who it is, and I think the fact that ROX was able to kind of like ascertain, hey, it's actually not Nara's TP, they have vision on him, makes it a lot less scary, right? Because if that's
in trouble.
Ooh, I think Bangies might be in trouble here.
Yep.
Peanut wants it.
He's gonna go for it. Oh,
That was bad ult.
Yeah, all right.
That was actually really bad ult.
Needed to go down the other way.
yeah, I think that was just super overforced, actually.
Yeah, he needed to do it like horizontally, kind of along the lane towards the turret. If he did it like that, then they have to basically run sideways out of that to be able to escape. He actually ulted the way he did, where it was kind of a flat line across, meant that the fastest way to get out of it is also the safest way to get to the turret. So you always want to make it so they at least have to run a bad way to get out of it.
And now Peanut's face checked. Oh, it's very annoying, but should be okay. Phage and Jerome Swift doing okay.
It's a pretty random build, honestly, from Duke. The fact that he's like not completing a Black Cleaver or a Frozen Mallet. What do you think about this? I feel like you want to complete one 100% before you start building the other.
Yeah, it's pretty random. I think Smev's build's kind of random too, though, because he's going well, I guess he just has Zhonya's components plus a Ruby Crystal, but usually people like going Leandry's early because it's like the highest damage, I think, for low econ if you happen to be low econ or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. That's like value build too from Duke.
Yeah, I think it's actually a really bad build, but that's neither here nor there. I mean, that's not an attack on the player. It's not saying that he's a bad player. It's saying that his build in this game is bad, right? And I do think that that's just like objectively true, as far as if you just like math it out. If you want giant spelled and stuff, and you're like, okay, you know, I need some HP, just build the full Frozen Mallet, right? That's totally fine. If you want the more damage build, then that's totally fine too, but you have to complete the items because for people who don't necessarily like know or maybe are watching and trying to like understand, hey, why is he saying this? So when you complete the items are always worth way more than the sum of the parts, right? The item completions, gold value wise, skyrockets. So when you have like 3,000 gold worth of pieces, it's worth massively less than one 3,000 gold item.
Yeah, I'm also surprised that you just didn't take any MR in this matchup. Like usually people, I mean, when I play this matchup, well, some like a KFO literally built first item every time I was playing Rumble versus Nar. So some people opt for like, yeah, you're committing fully to split push. I mean, the jungle top pairing isn't like very good for him to build Ma, because if he ends up running into Olaf,
Yeah.
he's like not very tanky to him. But yeah, like if you're committing to like, you know, you don't really want a team fight, you just want the 1v1, then at least a Hex Drinker like component, something like that, I think would be better.
Yeah, I agree as well. I do think that going Frozen Mallet into some MR would be fantastic in this game, especially anytime I'm playing against AP mid and Zyra, and I'm laning against AP top, you know that like a Cowl or something like that is going to be required, right?
Yeah.
Like, you will need it. And Cowl is super efficient in lane. Like, if you want to do a more defensive build, I think you can even just pick up a Cowl and sit on that. Like, go Frozen Mallet, pick up a Cowl, whatever. But either way, he's going to have the super mega power spike. We complete both items.
Well, he's got the Frozen Mallet now, and Zun is up for Smeb, so we'll track that. FLICKR trying to zone off the turrets, does nail Kuro with 1 bomb, but not going to get 2. And it's kind of interesting, right? We're obviously tracking a lot of vision here in the Fog of War, and we're going to keep going back to that valuable pink ward for ROX, because that is only the only vision they get. And it makes sense, right? We have a long lane only in bottom lane that people just getting minions over. All the other turrets are up. We've got duo lanes mid trying to push them down, but like people will obviously protect their central turrets. And it's very interesting in the laning phase to track how vision works, because you can't afford to get that much deep vision unless you see the junglers, etc. Yeah, that gank is, I'm not sure about that. Not sure about that one.
Yeah, I feel like that's like so forced. I don't really know what they're doing. If maybe they're expecting Bengi to be up there, and he's kind of trying to be in position for a counter gank, which makes sense to me. But it does feel a little bit forced, and that can simply be because of a lack of vision, right? Because they don't know where Nidalee is. He's like, okay, if I was Nidalee, what would I be doing here? Well, my Gnar has Frozen Mallet. Rumble's pretty susceptible to getting dove. He's probably going to come try to kill him. So I'm going to wait in this bush, and I'm going to be there and counter him, right? And then when it doesn't work out, it ends up looking pretty silly, because he's like, well, I've been here too long. Now it's time to clear a ward. So he just kind of walks in, throws an axe, clears a ward. That's it.
Yeah. That pink ward that they have like at that red pit might end up being good for the
game MVP.
Yeah, like the next dragon, if they fight over it, could get a good flank for the Rumble. And Rumble has his Zhonya's completed too, so he can like front line and flank a little better. You know?
It's interesting to see Kuro and FLICKR actually kind of farming out that bottom side, but FLICKR was getting that push on. ROX being blind does hurt them again, because they can't cut through that side of the river, and we saw how far back Kuro was playing to that turret. It also makes sense why we have the swap here. This is very common to move your duel into the mid lane, but with no vision especially, and the game still being very close except for one section of the map. You want to put your 80k in a safer spot to farm. Duke maybe opening something up here, but here comes Smeb. Going to try and all-in, and Peanuts here again this time. Might be enough finally as Peanuts going to chase, but they can't see. Now spot FLICKR. They can't go in. Duke great. Sonya's, oh my god. But the bomb setup he's going to get flashed out of. And now Bengi's here as well, going to dive in for it. FLICKR gets one, the bomb's going to ride in. Peanut in trouble, Gorilla needs to pop the ulti, finds it onto FLICKR, gets himself knocked up, but it is enough to say Peanut, but FLICKR is going to go down, and that's the tilter.
Oh,
Kuro's here, going to chase down Wolf, damage is good, flashes in, looks for it, wants the kill, moves the ulti over, but the heal's enough. Now Jin going to try and take him down, but Bengi gets the kill back.
That would have been super good if FLICKR ulted himself.
Yeah, that was actually like really bad from FLICKR. I mean, it's one of those situations where you can get really like a lot of confidence and stuff from holding everything to the very last second, and that's something that FLICKR is normally very good at doing, is he never uses something if he doesn't need to. So he felt like when he dropped his last set of bombs on the minions were going to die, and he's going to be able to survive, but Zyra was actually able to finish him off. And I think that honestly a lot of credit has to go to Smeb here, because I think that this could have been a complete disaster fight. As soon as they see FLICKR, they have to bail out, because you can't commit to Duke since he's just going to get rezzed. Now, that Zonya's preventing the stun keeps him alive so much longer. And then FLICKR goes in. Gorilla plays this very well as well. I think going straight onto FLICKR to try to make him get pushed back. So since if you go for Bengi, he'll just get ulted up.
I actually think Rumble starting with Flash might have been better than starting with Zhonya. But it's pretty hard to flash in Gnarl too. Like, his reactions are good.
Ooh, hustler on the dragon there.
Oh, that pink ward got cleared out.
Oh no! The MVP is dead.
Our only friend.
It's all done. I mean, and that is honestly
that's the only vision the whole game. Gotta talk about what do we do?
You joke about it, but that's actually part of the problem here. ROX, now that they're starting to fall behind a bit in turrets, SKT did get the one in top lane. Like, this is a really good part of the game to watch with the Fog of War on for ROX Tigers, because you're going to see just how hard it is to get yourself out of this situation when there's no real safe way to ward and you need deep vision, but you're going to be behind on every single play because you just don't have enough.
Yep. And I think it is very telling, yeah. Like, all jokes aside, as you're saying, they're having trouble getting the vision, partly, I think, because of the jungle matchup, because Nidalee is going to farm really fast, can move around. They're worried about face-checking into this Nidalee that's quite strong, has Rylai's, you're not really going to be able to run away. So they put themselves in a situation where they don't have vision, and then they feel like they can't get vision because they're scared to actually go. So it's definitely a tough situation, and this kind of does speak to why games sometimes look like this. It's like, well, why isn't ROX doing anything? They're just sitting there. Well, they're not doing anything because they're basically too scared to do anything. They don't have appropriate vision. And I think, honestly, what needs to happen in a situation like this is it needs to be a team doing it as a whole, right? You have Hawkshot to be able to scout it out and see where people are. You have to then move in, you know, after that with the Olaf having some support. Like Olaf, your jungle and your support move in, Ashe Hawkshot's in, checks it out, you see that no one's there, you move up a first line of vision. Then you try to extend it from there, but they have really kind of failed to do that this game, and this is the problem that comes from that, right? They're not scouting ahead, so Peanut has to face check and pop his ult because he doesn't know where anyone is.
FLICKR, again, has also been in side lanes quite a bit, so he's just farming it up. Kuro's done well. He's actually got a lot of empty farms, so feels like he's doing good in the CS department, but, you know, as good as ROX's draft is, still going to make use of it here, and Prey's getting 1v1 by Bengi again. Going to try and turn it around. Good flash out of the pounce. Deadly Flourish going to get blocked by Peanut, but that's just so much pressure that Bengi on the Nidalee has been putting out, and we've seen him for 2 games now, or at least 1.5, depending on how you want to think about this one. He's looked good.
Yeah, I think Bengi has looked great. But the thing is, Bengi has done way more than Peanut, and FLICKR has done way more than Kuro. Kuro has good form, but he's done nothing, like actually nothing. But the thing is, I don't think ROX is actually super concerned as long as they stay relevant as far as gold, right? 2,000 gold lead, who cares? I think that SKT's team comp late game is really going to struggle, and I think that ROX is likely feeling the same way. So as long as they're not really just like bleeding everything out, losing turrets, dragons, everything, it doesn't really matter that much, right? The Victor is eventually going to become very strong, and in straight up team fights, SKT's damage is going to be pretty low, and it's going to require a lot of like good setup. They have to, you know, land stuns, follow them up with more stuns, and kind of take people out like that.
Yeah, ROX just has like a lot of team fighting AoE
Yeah.
too. It's just like there's a lot of setup, a lot of hard
Full
engagement.
Zyra, Victor.
You can't really dive. Like Nidalee won't be able to dive into the Zyra later on, and I mean Zilean can only really save one dude. So
Yeah, I mean if Bengi gets massive and can like one-shot the Zyra and trade his life, then get Zilean ulted back up while Nara's charging in, that's maybe some way to win a fight. But it does definitely seem tough. ROX's like team fighting like type win conditions are massively easier, I think.
yeah,
And I think that's why they're happy to just kind of play passively, play defensively. And perhaps it's part of the reason as well that they're not feeling like they need to be as aggressive with vision. As long as they have control of their side of the map and can keep farming, I think they're probably fine.
Well, certainly at some point, they'll need to open up some space, but maybe they can play a bit more patiently. Baron, of course, will be probably the biggest consideration. And we have another Mountain Drake coming up after they split the first 2. Peanut going to get
no
caught.
ult, remember?
Doesn't burn it.
Now he does.
Actually does. Just make sure. Waited for the bomb stun there. Smart play from Peanut. Ooh, gets tagged with the last bullet. Just barely. I thought that wasn't going to hit him, but
one more bullet hit and he'd die actually. So
Yeah.
that was really well played by Bang to open up like that with confidence.
ooh, arrow missing. Oh, that's not good news for ROX. Playing defensive
Gorilla got caught.
his hard, and Gorilla, he's dead. As we were talking about Bengi able to assassinate the squishy Zyra, and Kuro flashing in. FLICKR caught out, but he's got the ult. He does use it this time, but Bengi just leads him for a double. Gonna face check Prey, but there's not enough vision in the brush. Prey is gonna not go down. Smeb's gonna take out Bang on the other side. Where did Smeb come from?
Bang is, I don't even know what to say. That was awful. Bang just like flashed in on Jhin with one, well, I don't even know if he had ammo left. Maybe he had one shot left, but he flashed in as a Jhin on top of these guys and just died pretty much instantly. That was really bad from Bang. I know he wanted to just get there to support Bengi and use his heal on him, but I think he needed to go over to the left. Like, this is a team that you can't just flash into melee range like that. And I think FLICKR, he's starting this off very aggressively. It looks kind of silly, but he knows he has his ultimate, and it forces them back. Once the flash is forced, Bengi can go in for the execute, and then this from Bang, I mean, he already had turret aggro, and then just flashes in on top of them and kills himself.
I didn't
That's
even notice.
where he died.
Yeah, I thought he was like a frontliner or something.
Yeah, that was really
That was
bad.
I mean, I was watching Prey try and chase down Bengi, but yeah, that was
Yeah,
That was
not
really bad.
good at
I
all.
guess he saved Bengi.
Alrighty.
Ooh,
Bengi saved his KDA.
worth,
so,
dude.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Alrighty, well,
yeah.
I mean, that's the other way
Not
to
delve too deep
that's
there.
the other way to help yourself in a game, of course. If you feel like you're a bit pressured, is it's going to be to make a mistake and get a free kill on the 80 carry. So good work, ROX. Capitalizing well.
Yeah, they did capitalize well, right? They played that as well as they could. I think that SKT did a super aggressive dive, but I think it was pretty well coordinated. The fact that FLICKR went in, he gets a slow on Kuro, and if Kuro doesn't flash there, he gets guaranteed double bomb. If he gets stunned there, he's dead. So he does have to flash, and then Bengi has the confidence to know that he cannot reactively flash his pounce combo after he hits him, so he just goes right in and kills him off. So this is pretty smart from SKT. ROX are not finding the opportunities that they have wanted, but they are keeping the gold relatively close, and it's still on SKT to keep pushing that and to keep controlling vision and really try to get something that can help them close out the game.
And SKT's vision doing them wonders here. Is Gorilla going to get caught? Although Bengi going to get it turned around. A great flash from Gorilla.
No,
there's going to be the shutdown.
Yeah, FLICKR's not there to ult, right? So there's no ult to save Bengi at all.
And this might actually give the mid turret, which is so crucial in the biggest issue we've highlighted all game long for ROX. No vision because they don't have space to get it. This is the most central point of the map to open up early on, and they finally take the turret down.
Yeah, they do, and Duke is at least getting some advantages in the side lane, but it doesn't really feel like it's enough. He's pressuring turrets a bit, but he's not ahead in farm. You know, he's not getting kills or anything. It looks like he's building towards GA third.
Yeah, not a bad choice. I think,
Seems pretty common.
yeah, I think in the split push war, he definitely wins, but yeah, Smev's just kind of like playing it safe, catches the wave when it hits tower. I think that's the smart way to
Ooh, they found one. It's actually FLICKR they're going to chase. Rilo Slow's going to force the flash. Undertow barely doesn't hit. And again, no vision. Arrow's going to fly in. They do hit walk, but can't chase into the dark. ROX Tigers play it safe.
Still a good punish there, and the fact that Peanut was in position meant they had the confidence to actually go for that. Still, it is a bit of a risky play because they didn't actually see many people on the map, so it is one of those things where you have to be like, okay, well, is that a calculated risk? And yeah, I think it is. They did know that Duke was bot side, so that wasn't going to be there, but ooh, God, that hurts.
Yeah, Gorilla's just trying to get the Dragon Vision, but you can't do it like that alone, I guess.
Yeah, and almost guaranteed now SKT is going to be taking that Mountain Drake. And I think that's relatively important because they are going to be able to use that to get things like the Baron and the turrets much more easily, which is something that's super important for them to close it out. So, you know, ROX is trying to do what they can to slow down their progression, and they have done a good job of it. I mean, really, it's like 2K ahead, right? It's not a big deal. 2.5.
You can see the mountain there is up. Smeb actually getting dove. Out of the fog comes Bang. Damage is in. Oh, good. Zonya's great. Dodges the spear as well, but that's how it's going down. He's tagged again by the boomerang. Damage is there, and Smeb's forced to flash out. Ulti's down to the last second. Duke's out, but can't get out of the deadly flourish. Arrow gonna miss from Prey, and it's just becoming a little too difficult, perhaps, for ROX
Early
Tigers.
damage is actually insane.
Yeah,
Just
Bengi
keeps one-shotting people.
I mean, Bengi is playing so well.
Oh,
FLICKR got ult. Oh, he's gonna get gravity
W
killed now.
right?
Probably
Yep,
dead.
there's the field. Good
Yeah.
timing. Oh no, not enough! Huh. Kuro!
He did too late. He did it too late.
Did he have it? Because if he did, that was just, that
Yeah,
was just a mistake.
He didn't use it. I mean, it is tough to time it out perfectly because Victor has to time it perfectly against the Zillion because Zillion can speed himself up and get out so fast. So he tried to time it perfectly, didn't do it quite well enough. So FLICKR is able to get out. Still, it's obviously fine, his straight ults. But that said, Bengi has just been a monster this game. I mean, most of the game has just been about Bengi from the very get-go. And the fact that ROX have not been able to track him, he's been the playmaker. He's been forcing summoners, getting kills, 4-1 and 3. And this guy has been fantastic for SKT.
Yeah, I think ROX has to be really careful and make sure they always have Baron Vision because 2 mountains means like 2 or 3 members of SKT can pretty much do Baron.
And you can see Bengi, he's aware of that, right? He's already coming in to establish that vision, to try to deny it. They're trying to choke ROX out. So this is a point of the game where vision is going to become massive. We can talk more about it. He dropped a pink in that bush, clearing out there. So ROX needs to move in as a squad. Right now, they don't see anyone except the support from SKT, so they actually don't know where anyone is. That could be 4 men in the bush, right? So they have to give that respect. They have to move as a team to be able to get up there and get that vision. And SKT will try to battle back and take it over. And I think the fact that there wasn't SKT members in that bush means they were probably buying, and we'll probably be heading back to Baron now.
Yeah. The other thing about Olaf in Baron plays too is he has to walk all the way around the pit to like get in for a steal chance. So if SKT gets enough vision in ROX's top side and denies enough of the control, then they can just start Baron even if like the jungler's alive with Smite up, because it takes them like a good 5 to 10 seconds to make it to the pit, and with 2 mountains and enough DPSers, Baron will fall quicker than that. So
and you can't flash over. There's no like big playmaking ability. You must walk straight forward into the pit and press Smite, right? There's no way around it.
FLICKR, a little greedy again. Oh, Kura gonna flash in for it. Ulti's good, slows him down, needs to dodge the last few bumps. Sidesteps the next one, Gorilla doesn't quite hit. FLICKR gonna burn the ultimate.
They should have
this time. W early, that's good.
Mid tower goes down. Ulti's good, FLICKR gonna get burnt down. Very nice from ROX. But SKT are counter playing in the mid lane.
And honestly, if ROX gets nothing more, this was well worth it for SKT. They get both summoners actually from Kuro. They get one summoner off of Gorilla. They get a mid lane turret. Totally fine. So SKT happy with that trade. ROX is trying to make plays and not allow themselves to kind of bleed out because they are getting pulled apart a little bit. They've lost vision around Baron. They have split push advantage on Duke. So ROX needed to make a play, and it's good that they could kill off FLICKR. But for FLICKR and SKT, that's still a good trade.
And I think we're starting to see now, we talked about, you know, the game wasn't that far apart as far as gold goes. It's not even that bad right now as far as actual gold goes, but you can start to see where the issues about not having that vision and having to play back in the fog is hurting ROX Tigers now.
And one thing we haven't talked about that I should have mentioned earlier was Ashton releasing to the Baron starts. That is a pretty big deal. They have two blue trinkets, but they also have Hawkshot, right? So thank you, Observer. So I say it, they show it.
Hey.
Makes me sound smart, but it's one of those things where it gives you extra tools to actually check out the Baron pit, right? It's like almost like having a couple extra blues.
All their faxes too, so they've been using a lot of these tools effectively, but it's just a little slow.
And Zyro plants, etc.
Yeah.
Vision everywhere. They're geniuses.
But SKT really has not committed yet to really hardcore baiting it. They have still been pushing out their sideways and stuff, and if they really want to start it, they're going to have to try to get a pick or force something more important out, right? One of these times, ROX is going to go up there, and SKT will be waiting in a bush and trying to force something, and it's just kind of the threat of when is that going to be, right? Peanut needs to constantly check this, but every time they move up, every time they go for it, there is that risk.
I mean, he's literally checking it on cooldown as a board.
Yep.
Finally get
sorry.
put in the back. Snev overheated. Ulti again. Ooh, Prey. Bullet. Doesn't dodge that one. One more coming. Big damage.
Oh, he's...
Poke. Ooh, Bengi almost just took him out from a screen away. Deadly Forest going to get juked out. And this Jhin ultimate's been doing overtime. Working overtime for SKT.
And if we look at Gorilla now, this is pretty smart. Gorilla actually was up there on the side. He was around to try to poke in and check. Because they know since Prey got chunked out, there was an opportunity for SKT to kind of get vision or perhaps even just start up the Baron straight up. So he had already kind of moved around the side to try to track that and try to keep tabs on what SKT are doing. Right back to it. Vision battle.
This is maybe the most crucial time to be watching that vision around the Baron dance. FLICKR rushes in. Wants Peanut. Peanut's got the ulti and the ghost locked down. Doesn't burn it. Very disciplined on the ultimate.
FLICKR has not been on point with his bombs, really. You know, he had some good ones early, but has not been able to land those crucial combos. And it's very big because had he landed just one of those combos, you get a guaranteed root out of that. That means that you will force the Ragnarok. And forcing that ultimate is massive because with the ultimate down, you know, you talked about how he has to walk in to try to steal Baron Zig. You can't do that without your ult. You'll just get stunned. You'll have pushback.
Yeah. So, they see Nilly mid. I guess that means they can't be on the Baron. And Nar actually was like grouping with the team for a while, I guess, because he's like scared of ROX's hard engage potential.
Ooh, Bengi picked off. Not enough though, flashes out. Ulti committed though by Zilean.
Yeah, FLICKR flash forward too.
They're going to turn it around. Prey, oh, he's dead. Oh, he jukes everything and Kuro.
Oh, Kuro's really low too. That fourth shot.
Yeah.
Prey juked it, but I don't know if he wanted to juke it. That was really close. And scary moment there, yeah, because FLICKR actually flashed in to try to save Bengi, and who wasn't actually going to go down because he had gotten his flash out. So both those summoners are used, but really it's starting to get pretty tense here as SKT feels like they want to try to force something. Elder is up, Baron is up now. Now there's options.
My god. Oh, it's just a ward. Okay. So Peanut attacking. Oh, never mind.
They're guarding it.
They're crazy.
I mean, they know that flashes are down here. Jhin ultimate's down as well. SKT's TPing in, though.
They maybe think Bengi's not there either, but they can now see him. They have to stop. They've seen the TP.
Really
Gorilla dead. Yeah, Bang flashes in. Takes him out, and they don't have any lockdown for him.
SKT can take this fight.
Zoning out Kuro as well. Damage isn't there. Gravity field's decent. Bang wants to get in, but that bomb might kill him. Kuro's got to be careful. There's Bang again.
This is awful.
This is actually game, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think they might be able to just kill them all here. They're going to keep...
Oh! They got Bengi. They're going to try and take him out. They have to get him. They have to get him. They do get him. FLICKR just wasn't there in time. They're going to try and save the game, but Duke's actually pushing. ROX going all in, but FLICKR turns it around. Peanut rushing in there, trying to take out Bang, but there's the ultimate they were looking for. Smev going to do what he can, but the damage is done. Prey already dead. Smev going to flash out, and Bang might just keep chasing down. Needs another snipe. Woof.
I can't believe they actually let both get away. So Bang tried to do the greedy play. And
oh, he's dead.
Oh. But yeah, Bang was trying to go for both. He actually shot his root backwards to try to kill Peanut while trying to also go forward and kill that off. But Nexus turret is getting very low here. SKT obviously wants to try to end the game. They know that scaling is not that good.
Gorilla in trouble. Peanut not going to get knocked up, but he's going to be okay. Damage still there as Faker's already taken out the poor squishy Zyra.
Kuro's up.
Not enough to end it though, it seems like, but so much damage done to the SKT base.
Yeah, and they got a lot of gold there, so that was massive for SKT. That was really, really, really big, and honestly pretty risky from ROX. And I'm very shocked because they were so patient the whole game, playing around the fact that they have this really strong late game team fight. They have their kind of obvious win conditions as far as that 5v5, and then they just randomly feel like, hey, let's start up the Baron, let's try to force this, and it just felt like so impatient.
I actually think the Baron start was like half accidental because it seemed like the Runan's Ash was like hitting a ward, and then that's why I started, but then they just committed because they were all there, and they're like, you know, it's just Baron, so.
I mean, SKT punished really well, but ROX put themselves in a position where they had no business doing that, right? They clear out the pink, they instantly start, they're on a blue ward, then they kind of try to hang around, they don't even fully bail out, so SKT played it really well, now are up 10,000 gold, and it's just right back to the Baron baits, but now it gets way worse because bot side is going to be pushing in from those super minions, and Smeb is kind of stuck over there dealing with it, so SKT can do things like start up the Baron, get TP, fully disengage, and then just wait again.
Yeah, the other thing is the Gnar actually just straight up wins split push war too, so he can like...
in trouble. Bray's dead.
Yeah, he's dead. Spanky with a snipe. Guru actually took the crit ball and ate about 30% of his health, so SKT is just going to keep pushing. No Baron necessary.
I think this is a game, unless they can pull off something incredible, but it's going to be so hard for them to do anything here.
Not trying to do damage, but Spanky heals himself back up. He's got so much damage with the Death Cap finish down the Nidalee, and SKT just going to push in.
No, they go out. Okay,
no need
wow.
to rush it. I mean, what are ROX going to do? They have no vision right now.
I'm actually really surprised that they didn't try to end it. Usually SKT is super aggressive and very, very decisive in these moments, but they obviously don't want to take the risk with all of Worlds on the line here. You know, I think they could have perhaps ended it, but if they fail, then they probably are knocked out of Worlds. So instead, they're going to go straight to Baron, and this feels nigh uncontestable for ROX. Peanut's so far away, so they take the guaranteed Baron, and now they're saying, we have 2 inhibitors down, we go top lane, push out the waves, we have 5 men go top with Baron, and then you just wait. Or you can have Duke in the bot lane, pushing in kind of bot and mid, back and forth, and buffing up those Baron minions so that multiple people have to respond and clear them out.
They could also go for a 5th dragon too if they're
there's a lot of options.
Timid, yeah.
And it looks like they might actually be doing that right now, because we don't see any of them, and ROX doesn't either, so there it is.
And that's been the thing, right? Like, you can't see them, so ROX can't really do anything about it, and I feel like that's been the thing. I mean, Duke's going to taste down Peanut, damage is decent, but it kind of all circles back. You know, you said when you don't have vision, you kind of have to do whatever you have with the information you do get, so you can make calculated risks as the game drags on. Those risks become riskier, and I feel like ROX, they just made a risky Baron call. That kind of blew this game out, but the way SKT were playing, they were just going to wait for ROX to make a mistake, it feels like, and ROX finally made one.
Yeah, I think the pace of the game before then was pretty good, but it like sacked the bot inhib and...
Oh yeah, they lost their whole bench.
Just,
They lost 4 kills, etc. Like they lost so
Baron,
much. And the Baron, and the Elder, right? Like all off of that one Baron play.
Well, if ROX can find some sort of hold, then they might keep their chances of taking the series 3-1 alive, but might be forced to
FLICKR got caught.
FLICKR caught, gets out.
Chaos.
Very nice on Chaos. Now Peanut chased down, that's a flash from Gorilla.
Oh, look at Duke, Duke's in the back.
Bengi's just in there, Smeb doing damage, actually look for the flank, but FLICKR puts the ulti down. Gorilla's already dead, Prey's dead as well. That's pretty much the damage done. Smeb can't get in, and SK Telecom is going to force game number 5. Bang's Jin has looked awfully good. Smeb locked down, that'll be the last kill, and that will be game. We could have a game 5, boys and girls.
Yep, 100% this one's going to be the end, and Bang, I mean, he got kind of smashed the last 2 games, but he battles back 9-1-5 on the Jin. Pretty insane. I really, though, think that this game was Bengi. Bengi was incredible to me. He played so well, was able to move around and get so much done in the early game, kind of extending advantages to everywhere. And a lot of the game, it was a really good one to watch for Fog of War because it's the failure of ROX to track him, right? It's the failure of ROX to kind of keep track of the Nidalee and know where he is and be able to appropriately respond. And because they couldn't do that, Bengi was able to really take over.
Yeah, if you track the jungler a little better in some of those situations, like when he burned Kuro's flash, which actually led him to dying on like the big wave crashing, then he could have like hugged the right side or something and like played a little better if Olaf ran into the Nidalee. But yeah, just SKT punishing, I guess, and all the mistakes that ROX made.
And the biggest thing is for me is like we heard it at the top of the day from the analyst desk is that like the key for the ROX here is unlocking Peanut. He's such a good jungler. He should be outclassing his opponents. And when Peanut does well, ROX Tigers usually come behind him. He smashed Blank, I will say, in pretty much in the games he played. But Bengi has smashed Peanut in the games that he's played. So I imagine Bengi's playing the last game. We'll have to find out as we move into game 5. But like Peanut getting held down is clearly the issue here because he needs to be doing work for his team. When Lee Sin's gone crazy, he's looking good. When Bengi's in the game, apparently Peanut doesn't do anything.
Yeah, well, and we've seen the power of Nidalee here, right? To be fair to Peanut, this is like almost 100% ban rate jungle champion for a reason, right? So you don't really want to be jungling against the Nidalee, and that's why everyone bans it. So he is kind of put in this bad matchup as far as that, just to be fair to Peanut, and Bengi just played it excellently.
Just seemed like the Olaf was like full clearing back and forth.
Yeah.
And then Nidalee was like full clearing, but then like made a few extra seconds for himself to like blow a summoner, full clearing again, walk in the enemy jungle, put a ward down, something like that. So I think Peanut got outclassed this game for sure.
Yeah.
So.
And I think in the first game as well, it might also be a matchup thing. Olaf into Elise. Elise was just falling behind, trying to pressure. I think it was bot lane in that game. We didn't get to see it from the top lane side that we were looking at, but it's been rough. And we'll have to see what happens because we are going to go to a 5th game. So when we return, it's Caster's choice. We'll select the best lane matchup and tackle it for the tiebreaker. We're going to send you back to New York there for a few minutes as Dash and the analyst desk continue their breakdown of the series.
Nidalee, a champion's been a cornerstone of the meta for 2 years. First ever Nunu game and past marks and then some. He did actually a really good job here, Bengi.
Oh, he did a fantastic job, and that was so surprising because we were honestly afraid. But I guess you have to look at it and say, would they swap in Bengi on blue side if he couldn't play Nidalee at all? Clearly not, because he could play it. He first picked it. ROX didn't expect it. We didn't expect it either. And I think it's really good to see how him and FLICKR together again just work so well, because FLICKR is able to win the lane due to the jungle pressure being applied as well, so FLICKR can play aggressive, lands a few bombs, and sets up Bengi for success.
Exactly. I love this long con so much because it lets SKT play off their biggest strength. FLICKR has been just blasting Kuro over and over in the mid lane, and now that they have Bengi on Nidalee, he gets to invade the jungle and completely take over the game. It was just beautiful. This is definitely my favorite series I've seen in a long time due to all the surprises.
And here's the thing, going into this game as well, Kobe, we were talking about SKT and, you know, the skill shots that they were eating in the entire game. And you were saying, all right, your contingency plan can't just be let me dodge it.
To be fair, they drafted everything to help them dodge. They have Zillion speed, Karma speed. They drafted an AD carry that builds Swifty Boots and Ghostblade normally. So Bang was able to sidestep all this stuff, but still the margin for error was very, very thin there, and they had to dodge over and over for 30 minutes.
And really important to highlight the Jhin, because this was the first time we really got to see this series show up. And what a monster performance this time around from Bang. Like, both these AD carries are kind of just trading. Now it's your turn, now it's my turn. But Jhin was so important here because it didn't lose lane to Ashe. It was actually able to match the laning phase. And then outside the laning phase, Ashe does have the arrow to create picks. Well, Jhin has his own ulti and also has the snare to create picks. So they can kind of trade them back and forth. And as soon as Bang dodged around some of these ultis from Prey, he was actually able to set up picks for his team. And that was super key as well with this high speed, kind of weird composition that was a little bit clunky from SKT, but with the early advantage to Nidalee, they just took over the entire map, and FLICKR as well again on the Zillion. Yes, he missed one ulti on himself. Apart from that, he played well.
And I have to assume that the Olaf pick is in part just to keep up with the farming game that Nidalee would have. Of course, we did see Nidalee start to outpace Peanut in that area, but why not go for the Lee Sin that's been working for your team so well? Why not go for something with a little bit more of that playmaking potential that they've needed in other games?
It's a really fair question, honestly. We saw the Lee Sin used to such great degree here. We also saw the Olaf, the 1105, 100%.
Right, it's not like he hasn't performed on it before.
And it's the sort of champion that can kind of skirmish and duel with Nidalee. It's the sort of champion that can also get in there and be a battle ward. But to me, the big change is that FLICKR won lane, which he's been doing the whole game, but with teleport. He didn't even have a second mobility summon, he didn't have ignite, he didn't have exhaust, so that whenever they went for the percentage plays, which for ROX Tigers, remember, have been bottom lane, teleport Zillion ult is available. The same sort of snowball, the whole shooting gallery on supports with the Ashe, couldn't happen this game because between the jungler coming bottom, the support mid laner coming bottom, they couldn't repeat that. The laning phase ended. They didn't have massive snowball on their bot lane, and ROX didn't have another idea on how to take this one.
I love that point. The adjustment from SKT to respond to the focus around the bot lane from ROX Tigers. I want to push us to the game-ending replay here. 37 minutes into the game, essentially 5-for-1 for SKT around Baron.
And this is actually a super risky play started by the ROX Tigers, going for Baron in the first place when they didn't even have all the members here. Kuro, you can see on top of your screen, just ended the fight now and already got chunked. That beautiful play from Bang, obviously going with the crit to get the kill. Kuro also ends up going down. This was kind of ROX being forced almost to make a play. They felt like if we don't try and rush down this Baron, we're not going to win the game, and it failed for them.
Exactly. I think here they're not even trying to kill the Baron. I think they just wanted to put enough threat on SKT to stop this split push, because that Gnar is destroying the base right now, and it's all because of Bang's big play there, you know, going in and getting that kill. They were gonna pull off this Baron, but taking out that member, there's no defense they could send back over to defend the inhibitor, and SKT get inside the base. That's the door wide open.
I mean, the delicate dances were what won ROX Tigers 2 games in a row where they needed to take it in the mid game. But with Kuro so out of position in that fight, completely zoned, completely a non-factor, they just couldn't dance the same way. They DPS down the Baron, they didn't get the engage they wanted, and then they were just caught in no man's land.
Let's remember, though, teams will swap again. Now, there's no way ROX Tigers is not taking blue side for next game. And that means if you're SKT, you're looking again at the Jace and Aurelion Solos, the 2 bans you've gone for every single time. There's the MF you want to get rid of, and then there's the Nidalee pick. And that is the big, big issue. We might see SKT try and trade some of these power picks back and forth, being like, give them potential Jace first pick, and we take the Ashe and whatever second priority pick they want. That might be the only solution for them, because they will have a lot of things to ban away.
I can confirm that ROX will be moving back to the blue side for our 5th and final game. No substitutions coming in here. So now I want to go and all the way back to these predictions. Back down the line. Now with 4 games of evidence under our belts, I want to know if you guys still are sticking with your picks, but maybe provide a little bit more evidence as to why it is that you're going to stick or change your picks.
Yeah, I'm going to change my pick a little bit in that I'm not going to predict 3-1 anymore.
Smart man, smart man.
So I'll go with the 3-2. I'm staying with SKT. I still do think that SKT can pull it out. They've adjusted to the big surprise that ROX brought to the table in this series, and they're keeping Bangi in, which I think has been the better performing jungler for them all around.
All right, Papa Smithy.
I didn't mention the game score. I was actually 3-2 at least on Twitter.
Of course.
I know. There's evidence out there. There's a trail, I promise. But regardless, I'm sticking with ROX Tigers also, just because there is that headache now for SKT. It is a bit of a minefield on red side. Something has to come through. The Nidalee, undefeated for Peanut this year. The Misfortune, undefeated this series. Or do you give up Aurelion Sol, that Kuro looked very, very good on in the semis, or the Jace pick that... I think the Jace is the one to me that can come through, but Smeb on Jace. Give a carry-minded player a carry.
That's a gamble based on the quarterfinals.
But it has to be a gamble, Dan.
That's true.
Duke's been losing other matchups already, so...
I wanna say like SKT, but honestly, I believe in ROX Tigers now on blue side that they're gonna bring it back. So I also stick with my prediction, the 3-2 ROX Tigers, and I want to
stay strong. There you go.
I want to see how SKT, figures out this pick a man phase, especially with the 3 bans on red side. I think there can be a massive power pick being left open for ROX Tigers they can use to win the game, and I want to see Peanut back on Lee Sin as well. When you see a pick for him where he can make way more plays than the Olaf, and then I think ROX Tigers can play the same kind of game we saw in game 2 and 3.
Our first 5th game in quite some time here. Now, Ali and Frazier at the Garden was the fight of the century, but now we've got 2 Korean heavyweights in the fight of the millennium. SKT versus ROX Tigers. Game 5 is coming up next.
Oh, baby.
Here. They're going for Kuro. Double bomb on a Kuro. Javel's going to land this time, and he's going to get the damage. Yes, he is. First blood in for FLICKR. But the turret's so low, and Bangi wants to dive. He's got one, and SKT are breaking this one apart now. FLICKR knocked around in front of the turret. Does not get up to burn the ult. He's getting low and just never casts it. The stun on a FLICKR not going to matter because he already had the ulti off the time. And Bangi again. Now the double kill. The flash heal for Bang to turn it around. But look at the trade damage. It's a 2-for-0. Make that 3-for-0 as the bombs blow up even more. And this could be the game-winning play right now. Kuro's got nothing left to do. Sure, he can pop the Guardian Angel, but what does it even matter? It's a 4-for-0. It's the ace. It's the game. And it's SK Telecom T1 bringing us to game 5.